Mary had always prided herself on her ability to sleep through the night. For decades, she'd drift off effortlessly and wake refreshed, ready to tackle her day. But after turning 65, something shifted in a way she couldn't ignore. Almost like clockwork, she began waking up at 3 a.m., her eyes snapping open as if an internal alarm had gone off. Lying in the dark, she'd stare at the ceiling, her mind restless, unable to coax herself back to sleep. At first, she dismissed it as a quirk of aging, something inevitable like gray hair or creaky joints. "That's just what happens when you get older," she'd mutter to herself, pulling the covers tighter. But as weeks turned into months, the exhaustion began to seep into her days. She'd stumble through mornings foggy-headed, her energy sapped, her patience frayed. Finally, during a routine checkup, she mentioned it to her doctor in passing, expecting little more than a sympathetic nod. What she learned instead stopped her in her tracks. These persistent 3 a.m. wake-ups weren't just annoying interruptions. They were her body's way of waving a red flag, signaling changes that demanded her attention. If you're over 60 and find yourself regularly waking up around 3 a.m., you're far from alone in this midnight mystery. Research shows that nearly 70% of adults over 60 experience some form of sleep disruption, from tossing and turning to these uncanny early morning awakenings. Yet what's even more striking is how many of us don't realize that these disturbances might be whispering, or sometimes shouting, crucial clues about our health. Occasional night waking is part of being human. We all have those restless nights now and then. But when it becomes a pattern, night after night, at roughly the same hour, it's no longer just a fluke. Your body might be trying to tell you something you can't afford to brush off. In this video, we're going to unpack 5 hidden reasons why you might be waking up at 3 a.m., explore what your body could be trying to communicate through these disruptions, and, most importantly, share actionable steps you can take to address them. Understanding these signals could mean the difference between years of fractured sleep and reclaiming restful nights that bolster your health, energy, and longevity. Stick with me until the end, because the 5th reason is something most seniors have never considered, yet it could hold the key to transforming your sleep quality practically overnight. Don't miss the final insight. It's one that most people overlook, yet it holds incredible power in predicting what lies ahead. These markers could completely reshape how you see your future and add valuable years to your life. If this has sparked your interest, show your support by hitting the like button, subscribing to our channel, and sharing this video with those you care about. Together, let us make informed choices for a healthier, longer life. Point 1. Your hormones are sounding an alarm. The first reason you might be waking up consistently at 3 a.m. could be tied to a quiet but powerful shift happening inside you. Your hormones are changing, and they're not doing it silently. As we age, our body's production of key hormones, those chemical messengers that regulate everything from mood to sleep, begins to ebb and flow in ways we don't always anticipate, often throwing our sleep cycles into disarray. Take Robert, for example, a 68-year-old retired teacher who'd spent his life as a champion sleeper. He'd hit the pillow and be out cold until his alarm buzzed at 6:30 a.m., no exceptions. But after retirement, something changed. Night after night, he'd jolt awake at 3 a.m., his heart pounding softly, his mind racing with a jumble of thoughts. Lesson plans he no longer needed, grocery lists, random memories from decades past. Falling back asleep felt like chasing a mirage. The harder he tried, the more elusive it became. What Robert didn't know was that his cortisol levels, the hormone tied to stress and alertness, were spiking far earlier than they used to. In younger adults, cortisol typically ramps up around 7 or 8 a.m., gently nudging you awake to start the day. But for many over 60, that surge can creep forward by hours, hitting in the dead of night and flipping the on switch when you least want it. Here's the science behind it. After 60, your pineal gland, the tiny pea-sized organ in your brain responsible for melatonin production, starts to slow down. Melatonin is the hormone that lulls you into sleep and keeps you there, acting like a gentle hand guiding you through the night. As its levels drop with age, your sleep becomes shallower, more fragile. Meanwhile, your adrenal glands, which pump out cortisol, might get a little overzealous, releasing it earlier than they should. It's as if your internal clock has decided to rewrite its own rules without consulting you, creating a hormonal tug-of-war that peaks right around 3 a.m. For women, this hormonal upheaval can be even more pronounced. Declining estrogen levels during and after menopause don't just bring hot flashes and mood swings. They can also trigger night sweats that rip you out of sleep, leaving you drenched and wide awake. For men, the gradual drop in testosterone isn't just about muscle mass or energy. It can destabilize sleep patterns too, making those deep, restorative phases harder to sustain through the night. But here's the good news. You don't have to let these hormonal shifts dictate your nights. There are practical, science-backed ways to regain some control. First, consider a low dose of melatonin, around 0.5 to 1 milligram, taken about an hour before bed. Unlike younger folks who might need more, seniors often respond best to smaller amounts that mimic what your body used to produce naturally. Check with your doctor first, of course, to ensure it's safe for you. Second, craft a sleep environment that supports hormonal harmony. Keep your bedroom cool, ideally between 65 and 68 degrees, to counteract night sweats or overheating that can jolt you awake. Swap out heavy blankets for breathable cotton sheets and lightweight pajamas that wick away moisture, helping your body stay comfortable as hormone levels fluctuate. Third, lean into consistency. Set a fixed bedtime and wake-up time, say 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., and stick to it, even on weekends. This trains your body to regulate melatonin and cortisol more predictably, smoothing out those erratic 3 a.m. spikes. Your system craves routine, especially as it ages, and giving it that structure can work wonders. Finally, don't hesitate to talk to your doctor about hormone testing. A simple blood draw can reveal if your melatonin is too low, your cortisol is peaking too early, or your estrogen or testosterone levels are throwing things off balance. In some cases, targeted hormone support, like bioidentical hormone therapy or supplements, under medical supervision can recalibrate your system and bring back restful nights. Hormones might be sounding the alarm, but with the right adjustments, you can turn down the volume and sleep through the night again. Point 2. Your breathing pathways are compromised. The second reason those 3 a.m. wake-ups keep haunting you might be happening right under your nose, quite literally. Sleep apnea and other breathing issues become startlingly common after 60, affecting nearly 40% of older adults according to sleep research. Yet so many of us don't even suspect it's the culprit behind our restless nights. Consider Margaret, a vibrant 72-year-old grandmother who loved her active life, gardening, chasing her grandkids, volunteering at the local library. But for months, she'd wake up around 3 a.m. gasping for air, her chest tight, her heart racing like she'd just run a sprint. She'd sit up, catch her breath, and eventually drift back to sleep, chalking it up to a bad dream or a fluke. During the day, though, she was a shadow of herself, nodding off over her tea, forgetting names, feeling drained despite spending 8 hours in bed. Her family noticed too. She'd doze off mid-conversation during afternoon visits, a stark change from her usual energy. It wasn't until her daughter insisted on a sleep study that the truth came out. Margaret had severe sleep apnea, with her breathing pausing over 30 times an hour, sometimes for 10 seconds or more. Here's what's going on in your body. As we age, the muscles in our throat and upper airway lose some of their youthful tone and elasticity, much like the rest of our body. Add in common age-related factors, maybe a few extra pounds around the midsection or neck, and those airways can collapse or narrow during sleep. When that happens, oxygen levels dip, and your brain, ever the vigilant guardian, sends an emergency signal to wake you up and breathe. This often hits hardest around 3 a.m., when you're in REM sleep, a phase where muscles relax even more, and breathing irregularities peak. The consequences go far beyond groggy mornings. Each time your oxygen drops, your heart and blood vessels take a hit, raising your risk for hypertension, heart attacks, and strokes. Your brain suffers too. Without steady oxygen during sleep, memory and focus can erode faster, accelerating cognitive decline. Margaret's exhaustion wasn't just getting older. It was her body crying out under the strain of interrupted breathing. So, what can you do if your airways are the midnight saboteur? First, tweak your sleep position. Sleeping on your side instead of your back can cut apnea episodes dramatically. Gravity helps keep your tongue and soft tissues from blocking your throat. Prop a pillow behind you or sew a tennis ball into the back of your pajama shirt to discourage rolling over in your sleep. Second, try elevating your head a bit. An adjustable bed or a wedge pillow with a gentle 6 to 8 degree incline can keep your airways more open without straining your neck or back. It's a small shift that can make a big difference, especially if mild snoring or congestion is part of the picture. Third, pay attention to the red flags. Do you snore like a freight train? Wake up with a parched mouth or pounding headaches? Does your partner mention you stop breathing or gasp in your sleep? These aren't quirks to shrug off. They're breadcrumbs leading to a possible diagnosis. Most critically, don't write this off as just aging. If you suspect sleep apnea, ask your doctor for a sleep study. Today's options are easier than ever. Home tests with portable devices can track your breathing without an overnight lab stay. And treatments? They've come a long way. CPAP machines, those air pressure devices that keep airways open, are now compact, whisper quiet, and more comfortable than the clunky models of the past. For milder cases, dental appliances that reposition your jaw or even throat-strengthening exercises prescribed by a specialist might do the trick. If this is hitting home for you, drop a breathing in the comments. I'd love to know this is helping. Your engagement spreads this info to others who might be struggling too. Let's move on to the third reason now. Point 3. Your blood sugar is on a roller coaster. The third reason you're waking up at 3 a.m. might be tied to something many seniors overlook when it comes to sleep. Your blood sugar is riding a roller coaster while you're trying to rest. After 60, your body's ability to manage glucose can get shaky, and those fluctuations can yank you out of sleep in ways you'd never suspect. Take James, a 67-year-old retired accountant with a sharp mind and a love for numbers. He wasn't diabetic, at least not that he knew, and considered himself pretty healthy aside from a few extra pounds. Yet, night after night, he'd wake up around 3 a.m. feeling jittery, his palms clammy, his stomach growling like he hadn't eaten in days. Sometimes he'd stumble to the kitchen for a cracker or a glass of milk, but he never connected the dots. What James didn't realize was that his evening routine, unwinding with a big bowl of pasta and a glass of wine, was setting him up for nocturnal hypoglycemia, a blood sugar crash in the wee hours. Here's how it works. When you sleep, your blood sugar naturally dips as your body fasts overnight. In your younger years, your liver and pancreas kept this in check, releasing glucose or insulin as needed. But after 60, that system can get sluggish or overreactive. If you load up on carbs at dinner, like James's pasta or a hefty slice of bread, your body pumps out insulin to handle the sugar spike. In older adults, though, that insulin can overshoot, driving your blood sugar too low hours later, often between 2 and 4 a.m. When it crashes, your body panics, releasing adrenaline and cortisol to yank glucose back up, and those stress hormones jolt you awake, heart racing, mind buzzing. It can swing the other way too. For some, especially those with undiagnosed or poorly controlled diabetes, blood sugar climbs too high at night, hyperglycemia. Your kidneys kick into overdrive to flush out the excess through urine, sending you to the bathroom, or waking you with an unquenchable thirst right around that 3 a.m. mark. These swings aren't just sleep thieves, they're warning lights for your metabolic health. Over time, unchecked fluctuations can nudge you toward diabetes, heart disease, or even memory problems as your brain struggles with inconsistent fuel. So how do you steady the ride? First, rethink dinner. Swap out simple carbs, white pasta, rice, sugary desserts, for a balanced plate. Lean protein, like chicken or fish, healthy fats, avocado or olive oil, and complex carbs, quinoa or sweet potato. A meal like grilled salmon with roasted broccoli and a small scoop of brown rice digests slowly, keeping your blood sugar on an even keel through the night. Second, time your eating right. Aim to finish your last bite at least 3 hours before bed, say by 7 p.m. if you're aiming for 10 p.m. lights out. This gives your body a head start on processing carbs before sleep kicks in. If hunger strikes later, skip the cookies. Grab a small handful of almonds or a dollop of plain Greek yogurt. Protein and fat stabilize without spiking insulin. Third, if you wake up shaky or ravenous at 3 a.m., keep a tiny protein snack by your bed. 5 or 6 almonds, a slice of turkey, a hard-boiled egg. It's enough to nudge your blood sugar up without derailing your sleep cycle. Above all, get proactive. Ask your doctor to check your A1C and fasting glucose levels. Prediabetes can lurk for years, silent but disruptive. And catching it early lets you tweak your diet and habits before it escalates. James did. He cut back on late-night carbs, and within weeks, his 3 a.m. wake-ups faded. Point 4. Your medication timing is working against you. The fourth reason those 3 a.m. wake-ups won't let up might be hiding in plain sight, right in your medicine cabinet. Many medications common among the over 60 crowd can meddle with your sleep, especially if you're taking them at the wrong time of day. Take Elizabeth, a 73-year-old widow who'd managed her high blood pressure with a diuretic for years without a hitch. She'd pop her pill with breakfast, sip her coffee, and go about her day. But when her doctor upped the dose and suggested taking it with dinner instead, to better control evening readings, she didn't think twice. Suddenly, she was waking at 3 a.m., bladder urging her out of bed, sleep shattered. Months passed, her energy tanked, and frustration mounted before she connected the dots. Her medication timing had turned her nights upside down. Here's the catch. Medications don't just target one system. They ripple through your whole body, including your sleep architecture. Diuretics, or water pills, flush excess fluid, but taken late, they can send you to the bathroom at all hours. Beta blockers for heart issues might dampen melatonin, leaving you wired when you should be winding down. Statins for cholesterol can spark muscle cramps that peak at night. Even antibiotics or over-the-counter cold remedies can throw your sleep off kilter with unexpected side effects. Timing is everything, and it's trickier as we age. Your liver and kidneys slow down, metabolizing drugs more gradually, so a pill that cleared your system by bedtime in your 50s might linger longer now, peaking in the night. A blood pressure med with a mild stimulant effect, like some ACE inhibitors, might energize you if taken at dinner, while a sedative one, like certain calcium channel blockers, could knock you out too early if taken in the morning. So, how do you sync your meds with sleep? First, make a list. Every prescription, supplement, even that occasional ibuprofen. Note the dose, time, and when sleep issues started. Patterns might jump out. Second, dig into each drug's sleep side effects. The National Institute on Aging or your meds package insert can clue you in. Diuretics, morning's best. Pain meds causing drowsiness. Evening might work better. A quick Google Scholar search or chat with your pharmacist can fill in gaps. Third, lean on your pharmacist. They're unsung heroes here. They know how meds interact and when they peak, often catching nuances doctors miss. Elizabeth's pharmacist suggested moving her diuretic back to breakfast. Problem solved in days. Most crucially, don't tweak timing solo. Your doctor needs to weigh in. Some meds must align with meals or other drugs for efficacy. But if sleep's suffering, ask about alternatives. A different class of blood pressure med or a split dose might be the fix. If this clicks for you, comment medicine below. I'd love to hear it. Share this with someone who might need it too. On to the fifth point. Point 5. Your circadian rhythm is shifting. The fifth reason for those 3 a.m. wake-ups might be the most surprising yet. Your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, is rewriting itself, and it's not asking your permission. After 60, this 24-hour cycle that governs sleep and wakefulness shifts in ways most of us don't expect. Take William, a 78-year-old retired engineer with a lifelong night owl badge. He'd burn the midnight oil, happily tinkering in his workshop until 1 a.m., then sleep until 9. But after 70, his body flipped the script. By 8 p.m., his eyelids drooped. By 3 a.m., he was wide awake, staring into the dark, unable to drift back off. No amount of willpower could override it. His internal clock had moved the finish line. Here's the science, straight from the Stanford Center for Sleep Sciences. As we age, our circadian rhythm phase advances, shifting earlier. Melatonin kicks in sooner, sometimes as early as 6 or 7 p.m., and tapers off by 3 or 4 a.m. It's not a flaw, it's biology. Your brain's suprachiasmatic nucleus, the circadian pacemaker, gets less responsive to light cues, and your eye's lenses yellow, filtering less blue light to reset it. Result? You're sleepy when the sun sets and awake before it rises. Fighting this shift backfires. William tried staying up till 11 p.m., matching his old habits, but still woke at 3 a.m., now short on sleep and cranky. Society doesn't help either. Dinner invites at 7 p.m. or late-night TV clash with your new rhythm, tempting you to push past your natural bedtime. So, how do you roll with it? First, honor your body's cues. Sleepy at 8 p.m.? Hit the hay. Don't fight it for the sake of normal. Early bedtime can mean deeper, longer sleep, even if it feels odd at first. Second, master light. Morning sunlight, 20-30 minutes within an hour of waking, resets your clock forward. At night, dim lights to warm tones, think amber bulbs, and ditch screens 2 hours before bed. Blue light tricks your brain into thinking it's noon. Third, reframe your day. Waking at 3 or 4 a.m. refreshed? Use it. Read, journal, sip tea in peace. Many seniors find these hours golden for quiet focus, turning a problem into a perk. Above all, ditch the guilt. Dinner at 5 p.m., bed by 8 p.m. It's not old, it's smart. Syncing with your circadian shift can turn restless nights into restful ones. We've dug into 5 hidden culprits behind your 3 a.m. wake-ups: hormones, breathing, blood sugar, meds, and your shifting clock. One truth stands out. These aren't random. They're your body's SOS. Which hit home for you? Maybe it's a mix. Pinpointing the why is your first step to fixing it. Mary, our opener, took it to heart. She shifted her diuretic to morning, propped her bed for mild apnea, and embraced an earlier bedtime. Now 72, she sleeps better than she has in years, not by forcing a 7 a.m. wake-up, but by flowing with her body's rhythm. Sleep after 60 isn't about recapturing youth. It's about adapting to now. With the right tweaks, 3 a.m. can fade from a nightly nemesis to a rare blip. If this helped, give a thumbs up, subscribe, and tap the bell for more on thriving as you age. Drop a comment. Which factor clicked? What's worked for you? Your story could light the way for someone else. Thanks for watching. Here's to restful nights and vibrant days. See you next time.